Early morning raid in Southern California's Mojave Desert.
Sheriff's Department search warrant!
As deputies from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department target an urgent problem. Proliferation of black market marijuana farms, not only drawing complaints from locals, but also growing weed illegally and using illegal methods to do it. We followed behind with the lieutenant in charge of the raid.
Who's actually doing the growing at these places? Individuals that have been trafficked here to work off their debt for being smuggled into the country.
So they're being trafficked?
Yes.
As we approached, we see several workers fleeing.
We had several bodies jump over the mound.
Get on the ground! Lay down!
These people that are getting arrested right now, the lieutenant says were the ones that were growing the marijuana, but he also says they themselves might be victims of human trafficking.
Can I ask them a couple questions?
Yep, go at it.
We identified ourselves as journalists, and producer Arnie Hakela, who speaks Mandarin, helped translate.
How did you come here?
They found this job through a website, a Chinese website.
Through a Chinese website. What were you doing for work before this?
They all worked at restaurants before this.
How are you paid? Who's paying you?
They said they haven't actually gotten paid yet.
You haven't been paid.
One of the workers, Fang from Flushing, New York, agreed to show us the trailers where she said she and others had lived for weeks.
She lives here. So she says it's very, as you can see, it's very dirty, it's very messy.
The person or people who brought you here, did they tell you the truth about what you were coming to do?
No, they didn't tell her that. If they told her it would be like this, she wouldn't have come.
The workers tended to over 20 greenhouses on the farm, and deputies say they found over 1,000 pounds of processed marijuana ready for sale.
This product will end up in a dispensary.
In a legal dispensary?
Legal, illegal.
Consumers could show up to a dispensary, buy weed, and it could have potentially been grown by a victim of human trafficking?
Yes. If you look at the number of legalized grow locations for the state, there's not enough of those to funnel product for the legal dispensaries. So over 70 to 80% of marijuana at your dispensary is illegally cultivated.
The lieutenant calculated the value of the cannabis at this grow alone was worth roughly $10 million.
Whoever's running this place is making a fortune, but the people working here say they haven't even made a dime yet.
That's correct.
After being charged with a misdemeanor, the workers were released. And one, Jin, told me none of them had any money. Weeks later, we were contacted by Jin, and we found him living between a friend's car and this motel room in L.A. He says he'd been trying for weeks to borrow enough money to make it home to his family in New York. I have no money, Jin said. What hope do I have?
All right, Jacob joined me here. I have to go back here a second. The trafficking victims in your story were charged with misdemeanors. What about the person accused of growing it?
That guy was arrested, Lester, the exact same day at his home in Los Angeles. Out in the suburbs, cops seized nearly 1,000 pounds of illegal pot. Because none of the workers that we met would say that they were trafficked, the deputies could only give them the same type of misdemeanor citations that those workers got. Tomorrow, we're going to take the story beyond this one case. We're going to show you how widespread, Lester, this form of labor trafficking has become and why cops are having such a hard time cracking down on it.
This is a real eye-opener. All right, we'll look forward to it. And Jacob, again, part 2 of his investigation airs tomorrow night here on Nightly.